Those of you watching online, well, you probably don't realize that we're going to start at 6, but now you do. All right, bro. What was your name again, brother? Yonel. I texted you today, right? Okay, let me just text something really quick. Or just text Diana to bring I guess 4 pieces is enough, no? We just don't know. 5 by 6:50. All right. Yonel, everybody in here right now has already heard everything I'm about to share. They've heard it over and over and over again. The idea of the whole choose a change, what's the word I'm looking for? The idea is to help someone go from where they are to where they want to be. That's the whole idea of choose a change. To help you go from that point to another. So we're going to start it. Today is we're doing a mini seminar, a 2-hour seminar from 6 to 8. I'm sharing this for those of you online. And we're going to be doing these every single month from now on. Because when I go to the parole office, new men come for the first time. And even if it's just one, I'm going to do this. And you're going to watch, Yonel, that at 7, right before 7, more people are going to come because we normally have this class at 7. But this was specifically designed for you guys. And that's why, and people don't understand that. What about you? What you're going to share, what you're going to learn today takes people almost a lifetime to learn it. I've been learning this. I've been at this for 25 years, 26 years. And I've achieved what I have achieved because I have been on this journey, on this process, what I call the process of change. You can write that down, the process of change. This is what we're gonna talk about today. So check this out, Lionel. I'm gonna just jump right into this. When you get a minute, Daniel, put up the success. Man, I'm learning. I'm forgetting words. I'm so used to reading it. Oh, and I need to open this too. Give me a second, guys. Let me open this too. Where is it? Where is it? Give me 1 second. Let me open this right here. And there it is. Is this it? This is not it. I lost my page, so you're going to have to bear with me here for a minute. Bueno, ni modos. Oh man, I can't believe this. I lost my page. Give me a second, guys. Yes, go to recent, right? Go to recent. I got it. I know how to get it. Know how to get it now. Overview. Overview. There it is. That's not it. Oh man, I lost it. I might have to have my assistant here come help me. I'm looking for the process of change I did in Austin. That's the one I had open, but for some reason I lost it. Maybe it's this one. I think it might be that one. This one. That's it. That's it. Thank you, my assistant Daniel. I'm not very techie, but I'm learning. I got a Mac. Yeah, put on the iceberg. That's the word I was looking for. So, Sexel Leon, Leon or Lionel? Leo? All right, Leo. So I'm going to be directing everything to you today. There's a class just for you, man. So here we go, Leo. When you think of success, what do you think of? Who do you think of? Give me a couple of names that you can think of when you think of success, whether it be in sports or business or in your family, no matter. Just what do you think of when you think of success? What is success? Uh, see what you can think of. What is? Think of people that you see as successful. Just a couple of people that you might see as successful.
I guess professional athletes.
Professional athletes? Anybody in particular? We can think of a bunch of them, right?
Yeah, there's a lot.
You know,
Especially in basketball.
Michael Jordan. What's let's think sports. Michael Jordan. What else?
Bird.
Larry Bird. Man, you go way back.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. All right. So then, successful people. Do you know anybody successful in business?
You got Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Man, that's a big one.
You got Gates. You got.
Okay, so then we can think of a few people, right? So what are the, and when we think of successful, many times we think of what? Money, right? And we see all these guys, but let's stick with basketball players. And we see them at the top of their game. I'm reading a book right now about a guy named Greer. I think he was a professional Olympic gold medalist, or he was very, and I'm reading his story, and what he went through is not what I thought a gold medalist would go through. Because it was a story just like me and yours, Chavarria. He just persevered. But when you think of success, what you're seeing is iceberg. Do you know what that is? It's an iceberg. And they're so high. But did you know that an iceberg is twice as big on the bottom than it's on the top? Did you know that? Because that's what floats it. Let me show you the rest of this iceberg. It's 2 to 3 times bigger on the bottom. And like when I go to the parole office, and people hear me, sometimes they're in disbelief. What is this guy just pulling my leg? I wonder if he's really serious about what he's talking about. I don't know. What did you think? I mean, you're like, wow, this blew you away, right? Okay, some people have a hard time believing because their idea of success is different. Or maybe they don't want success. Maybe they don't want to change. I don't know. But as you can see, you're the only one here. Out of how many? 40? One person. And it never fails. But for some reason, we're going to learn today why people don't change or don't want to come. Because we're going to talk about life change, success, and overcoming in life. This is what it takes to make it. Remember, I told the guys, if you're looking for easy, what did I tell them? Might as well just go back to prison. That's what I said. Because there's no easy way out. This is what it takes, Leo, to be successful. Every single person that you named, they put a lot of hard work into it. They put persistence into it. They put late nights into it. They put rejection. There's a lot of rejection that comes with wanting to change. Sacrifice, discipline, criticism, doubts, failures. These are the kind of stuff that you need. But see, We don't see that. And it becomes very deceiving, right? Everybody's wears their Michael Jordan shirts and wear their Michael Jordan caps and their Kobe, what's that? Bryant, Shaq. But this is what it took for them. And this is why I do what I do, because I used to think like this too. Like, what does it take to get to the top? Well, I'm about to tell you. So, Leo, it starts right here. It starts right here at this. This is where we all start, at this crossroads. This crossroads right here. Can you see it, or is this in a way? This crossroads right here. And this is where you are. You're at this crossroads. And before you get to this crossroads, for you it was prison. So some people it's rehab. Drugs and alcohol. Drugs, alcohol. For some people it's divorce. It devastates their life. And they come to this crossroads of, man, what do I do now? How do I change? For some people it's just tragedy. But for our purposes, I work with a lot of people coming out of prison, rehab centers. And you get to this crossroads and you're right here. And you have to make a decision. You have to decide that you don't want to go back this way and you want to go forward. And you start right here. And the first step is called desire, wanting to change. There is a story in the Bible in Luke 15. Have you heard of the prodigal son? Have you heard of the prodigal son? The prodigal son. There's a story in the Bible, a very famous story. It's about the prodigal son. The prodigal son lived with his father. He was wealthy, he had money, he had a brother, he did great. And one day the prodigal son decides, you know what? I don't want to live with my father no more. I want to go do my own thing. And here's what he did, brother. He told his father, you know what, Dad? Give me all my inheritance. Give me whatever you're going to give me, and I'm going about my business. And his father, reluctantly, loving his son, no, Dad, I'm leaving. He gave him all his money. He said, son, all right. And he took off. This is in Luke 15, if you want to read it. Luke 15. And he went, and the Bible says that he went and he spent it like he wanted, and just sinful living, drugs, alcohol, women, you name it. That's how he started living, because he thought that was freedom. Doing whatever he wanted to do. And then he gets to the point where, right here, he gets to this crossroads because of how he was living, because of his choices in life, because what he had been doing, because of sin. Because he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. And life doesn't work that way. Not if you want to be successful. There's some things that you must do, that you're going to have to do. And listen to the end of this story. And this is where you need to be, right here. This is why I'm sharing this story with you. After he found himself feeding pigs and eating the pigs' food because he had no food. And they took him out to work. They sent him out to work feeding pigs. That's where he found himself. Listen to this. Luke 15:17. But when he came to himself, what does that mean? Man, what am I doing? He said, when he came to himself, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have bread enough to eat and to spare, and I perish with hunger? He said, I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against God and before you, and against you. I no longer am worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. I remember very distinctly, brother, this is what I did. And that's what you're going to have to do. If you're going to want to overcome the challenges that are ahead of you, you're going to have to humble yourself. Say, man, I messed up. I need to change. I just, just give me a little place to live there. I'll do whatever you want. That's how you're going to have to do it. And you know what the Father did? He didn't do that. The Bible goes on to say that when he saw his son coming, brother, it's powerful stuff. He saw his son coming and he ran to him, brother. And he hugged him and said, man, welcome home. That's what I've been waiting for. No, 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 no. Kill the calf. This is what he did. Kill the calf. We're going to party. It's time to party. My son, he's back. Forget where he came from. He's back. And when you come to God like that, brother, that's what it takes. And this is where this desire means. This is the first step to moving forward. That's an awesome story. I wish I could tell you the rest of it. But I'm telling you, the father just embraced him and put his ring on him and put new clothes on him and said, here, son, because he said, my son was lost, but now he's found. That's what he said. It's a powerful story. And that's where we all have to start our life change journey. If you want to have some kind of success and overcome in life. Because we're looking for good results, right? So I'm going to help you. Go from here to over here. Well, I'm going to tell you what it takes. And I just told you the first step. Desire is the pivoting point. The pivoting point. You know, it's from going from, the pivoting. You pivot. You know what? I'm not going that way no more. I'm going this way. I can't change the past, but I sure can change the future. You see how that works? And you can't change the past. Right? You can't change it overnight. But here's what you can do today. Change directions. It happens in just in a moment of time. It happens at the altar every single Sunday for somebody. It happens to you in prison. It happens to you in a tragedy, or it happens to us, everyone that ever has any kind of success. It happens to them at one point or another, and you have to get there. Otherwise, nothing will ever change. It's a pivoting point. The principle of desire is that you have to want to change. That's the principle. This is where it all starts. You have to want a better life. You have to want a better future. You have to want to be a better father. You have to want to be a better mother. You have to want to stay sober. You have to want to stay out of prison. You have to want, right? This has to be in you. Because if it's not in you, you're going to fail. You're going to fail. Because it's harder than you ever. Life change and success and overcoming in life is harder than you ever thought it'll ever be. It's not easy. That's why most people quit. That's why this room is not full. That's why most people didn't come. You must want to change. And not only must you want it, you must want it bad enough. Only the strong survive. No, and you know what? And that's a true statement. He says only the strong survive. And not necessarily strong in muscle or in mind, really, in mind, because most people give up. But this is why I'm sharing this. And I'm going to share with you about that. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, because you're going to have to be mentally strong, spiritually strong, and physically. You must want it. You must want it bad enough. There's a motivational speaker that I love to listen to. Give him the mic. The mic's right there.
I believe consecutive.
Consistent.
Be consistent. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Got to be consistent.
Believe it or not. Yep. All those words are going to come up here because it's a process. Consistency, right, is what you're saying? Commitment, consistency, determination, discipline. Those words, look. Les Brown said you have to be hungry. You got to be hungry. You ever been hungry? Remember in prison? In the lockdowns? Remember that? Hungry. You're going to eat whatever they give you. right? I don't know what it's like nowadays, but I ate a lot of stuff. But you got to be hungry. Darren Hardy says you just have to find your way. Just find your way. E.T., you know who E.T. is? Eric Thomas. He says you must want success more than you want to breathe. He's talking about you got to want it. And then the last guy that I looked up, Tony Robbins, he says, your wishes, you know how people would say, I wish, I want, I want this, I want that. I hope, man, I should. He said, no, all those hopes, wants, shoulds, and wishes, they need to become musts. I must do this. I must overcome. I must change my life. I must do this. I'm going to do this. Commitment, decision. That's what it takes. That's step one. Number two is faith. And by the way, there's a lot more principles. But if you just work on these, if you just start working on these, everything else will start coming together. Remember, I'm talking about the process of change. You're going to need faith. I tell people in this world, when it comes to life change, a lot of people are struggling with mental disorders, right? Personal disorders. I'm not big on all that stuff. I'm not that there are disorders are not real. They're real, but we all have them. We all have problems. How many here have mental problems? You do. We all have them. And I say problems, but they might be struggles. You ever fight mind battles? That's a mental problem. See, but it's just how they name it and how you name it. But in any case, my point is it's out there, right? They're out there. So with your problems, with your spiritual problems, mental and spiritual is the same thing. I don't know if you all realize that. Mental and spiritual is the same thing. Because it's all in somewhere you can't see it. It's in here. It's a feeling. It develops feelings, emotions. And if you don't know how to deal with, if you don't deal with them, they're going to take you. Right? They're going to take you. That's why people never heard someone say, man, you can't let your emotions overtake you. Or you can't let your feelings take you down. Because those are the things that are taking down people by the millions today. Feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions. So let's deal with those for a minute. Because I'm talking about faith. You're going to need faith. There's three ways that you're going to deal with these feelings and emotions in your mind battles. There's three ways you're going to deal with it. You're either going to deal with it with something called SM. Have you ever heard of DSM? DSM, brother, is the book. I have it at home. I think I'm going to put it back there. It's this thick. It's the book for mental disorder. This has to do with mental something, disorder, something. This is what the doctors use, psych doctors use, to diagnose you. These are all it's this thick. I mean, it's huge. It might be even thicker. It's all the medical terms for diagnosis of your mind, mental disorders. Imagine how many are in there. They use this book, and based on your symptoms, right? They're going to tell you, okay, you have this, 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 you have this. Here's your meds. Frank, how many meds were you taking 5 years ago? About 6 different meds. Alex Almanza was taking about 10 different meds. Everybody, like over 50% of America, probably more than that, are in some kind of psych meds. That's huge. Why? Because this is the option that this world gives us. That's it. Psych meds. Psychologists. And now, I believe that doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists have their place. I really do. Counseling, they have their place, okay? And I think it's important. I think we need marriage counseling. I think we need life counseling. We need counseling. That's why we have, well, okay, and the way you're going to decide if you want to do it this way, the world's way. This is the world, the world that we live in. This is it. This is what they deal with. So you have psych. I have no idea how to spell psych. Anybody? Like psychiatrist? Man, I have no idea how to spell it. Psychiatrist. Psych. I have no idea. Somebody help me. Psychiatry. Whatever. Doctors and counseling. You guys are not helping me at all. Okay, so that's one way, right? Here's the second way. Programs. There's a lot of great programs out there. Nowadays, programs are huge, right? The biggest one you can think of is AA. AA has helped more people than any other program in the world. Did you know that? AA is huge. 12 steps. It's a spiritual program. And it'll help you. It's huge. I know it is. It's huge. And my hats off to AA. They've done a great job. AA is huge. AA, it teaches you, gives you some principles how to live and how to deal with yourself. It talks about your problems. It talks about your selfishness. AA is really, really good. But my point is programs. It's the second way you can deal with them. Through meds, psychs, and all that. Programs, right? In this world. But here's the one I want you to think about. Number 3 is the one I want to give you, which is faith. And I believe in Jesus Christ, God, the Bible. That's how we deal with our problems as Christians. And that's what I'm going to try to help you with. Faith in Jesus Christ. Faith in God. Faith in the Bible. Because all these principles, the rest that I'm sharing with you, guess where they come from? From the Bible. And there's a lot of people that are not Christians, in fact, they're atheists, that teach these principles. But I want you to understand where they come from. They come from the Bible. So that's what I want you to put your faith in Jesus Christ. Because this is a Christian organization. Choose the Change Ministries. We're a Christian organization. We believe in God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. We believe that in the life-changing power of God through faith in Jesus Christ. He is the author and the finisher of our faith. So with that in mind, let me tell you, there's 3 things you're going to have faith in. 3 things. Number 1, faith in God, which is what I just shared with you. Number 2, you're going to have faith in yourself. And many of us do. But you have to balance that. Because most of the time, you're going to have to do all the work. You're going to have faith in yourself. Because I know you do, brother. You can do it. That's with me too. I have faith in myself. And but many people have struggled with that. I know I did for years, man. I forced myself to believe this stuff. Literally forced myself. Because I didn't believe that a man like me could actually change his life. I had to force myself to believe that there was something better for me. Imagine that, being in prison for the story you just heard. You heard it at the parole office. And thinking that I was going to change. That I was going to start a business. That I was going to do what I'm doing today. I couldn't see that. I had to have faith. I had to have vision for your future. I'm trying to help you with that. That you can have more. That there's more for you. You're just 20, how old? 27 years old. There's so much for you that you don't see. You're going to have faith in God, in yourself, and number 3, in the process. The process has to do with vision. Having vision. You know, like, so let me help you with your vision. What would you like to have? Where would you like to go? Where are you going? So let me help you with your vision. Because vision, the Bible says that a man without a vision, or let me give you a quote. A man without a vision is a man without hope. And a man without hope will always return to his past. Let me repeat that. A man without a vision, in other words, something to shoot for, something you're aiming for, is a man without hope.
Blind man.
The blind man. And a man without hope will always return to his past. Always. So let me give you some hope. Let me give you some vision. Here's what I'm going to recommend you shoot for. What I call success. Let me ask you. If someone had financial stability, not financial wealth or freedom, stability. In other words, you're already getting that. You're getting stable. If you had family and friends, you have financial stability, relatively good health, and in your case, young. You got God in your life. What else? What is the other ones? Anybody want to remind me? Oh, that's right here. Relatively good health. You had God in your life, family and friends, financial stability, and there's one more missing. But you also had hope for the future. Would you consider yourself successful?
Relationship, spouse.
Oh yeah, family and friends right here. Would you consider this guy successful?
Yeah. Sí.
So why don't we shoot for that? Because, right? Good, something to shoot for. Because I'm telling you, I have all this and more. I have family and friends, more than I have financial stability. I'm not rich at all, trust me, not even close. But I'm stable. How about a house? Your own home, your own house. I think that's a good one. But you have hope for the future, even after this. Would you consider that successful? Well, that's what we can have. That's what I have. That's what a lot of my Christian friends have. And because this is not really physical, some of it is, but not all of it. But the health alone, I mean, these two right here. I mean, all of them. That's why I put them on. This is what I want to help you with. Now, if all you want is money, then I don't know how to get there yet. I'm not there yet.
You got a lot to work on.
Yeah. But you're going to have some faith to believe that you can have this. In Hebrews, what would kill your faith? How would you lose your faith? Let me tell you what would lose it. In Hebrews 3, the writer of Hebrews is talking about having faith and listening to the voice of God. And knowing that when God's speaking to you, that you need to listen. Listen closely. It says like this in Hebrews 3:8-12. It says, today, if you hear his voice, don't harden your heart like they did in the past. in the day of trial in the wilderness. In other words, when the hard times came, they lost faith and they hardened their hearts. He says, where your fathers tested me, the people tested God, he said, they tried me for 40 years. Therefore, I was angry with that generation, God says. They always go astray in their hearts. See, that's where it happens. That's why faith is so important. It happens in the heart. And they have not known my ways. He says, so I swear in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest. And then he says, so beware, brothers, lest there be in you an evil heart of unbelief. An evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God. But exhort one another, and this is what I'm doing for you, daily, what it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. So in other words, what's gonna harden your heart, make you stop having vision for your future, is gonna be sin, unbelief. Sin and unbelief. Not believing. In other words, sin, the normal sin is what? The stuff that we know. Drugs, alcohol, pornography. That's the stuff that's easy. But he's talking about the sin of unbelief. Not believing that this stuff works. Not believing that God is going to help you. Not believing that, man, it's going to get better. Because some people give up. They give up. They just can't see it. So let's move on. Desire and faith. That's where it's at, right? That's where you start. So this is where everybody starts. Now I'm going to get to the core of everything. The core of the process of change. The main thing, not the main thing, but the core. It's called mindset. This is what we're going to talk more about. Philosophy. This is the heartbeat of your life change. So I want you to listen closely to this one. Philosophy. Do you know what philosophy means? You ever heard that? Philosophy? So philosophy is you look it up, and it's going to talk about that it's a way of thinking. It's a belief system. The way you think. That's what philosophy is. And we all have it. We all have a certain way of thinking. Would you agree to that? We all have it. In fact, we're all brainwashed. We're all brainwashed. Did you know that? All of us. Because we all believe something for a reason, and I'm going to explain that to you. You believe what you believe for a reason. And I'm going to explain that to you. And there's some beliefs, some philosophies that you have, some belief systems that you have that you need to get rid of. Many of us need to reprogram our minds. Well, not many of us. All of us need to reprogram our mind if you're going to achieve the success that you want. And many of it, you can start, but what happens, I think my phone was on. But let's just move forward. Your mind is the core of our problem. Listen to Proverbs 23:7. Listen to what the Bible says about the mind. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. He says, let's eat and drink, but his heart is not with you. Who's ever heard this? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Or no. Change your mind, change your life. Who's ever heard that before? Change your mind, change your life. You might see that on a post or something. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. Because this is how you change your life. By changing the way you think. By changing, in other words, the simple one is, you know what? I didn't want to go to church. I don't want to, I'm good. Not wanting to go to church is a belief system. That's what you believe. You don't need church. So you don't go to church. So, and that's something that you have to decide. I'm telling you, you need church. You need fellowship. You need help. Philosophy, our mindset has to do with how you think and what you believe. It has to do with how you think and what you believe. There's a lot to learn about the mind and how we think. Why it's important and what it takes to change how you think. We can talk about conscious and unconscious mind, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But conscious, I forgot how to spell it again, and subconscious. And we're going to finish up after we eat. So let me just close, just give me 2 more minutes. Well, we're about to, the next thing we're going to eat right now. But mindset and philosophy, again, that's the core of life change. This is it. This is how you you go to the top. This is it, man. And this is the core of the process of change. This is, let's look at, so when we get back, I'm going to explain to you what the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is. Have you heard of that? Subconscious, conscious? Do you know the difference? That's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about why you are the way you are, why you act the way you act, why you dress the way you dress. I'm telling you, it's because of your mindset. So let's eat. Let's take a break really quick. We'll be right back from Facebook. I'm going to say let's take 15 minutes. We'll take 15-minute break, and then we'll start again. All right.
Storybox Audio. 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 Storybox Audio.
back online. I guess so. So like I was sharing, the first thing you need, those of you who just joined, we're just going to continue the process of change. And the first thing you need is get to this crossroads and want to change. Like you got to that crossroads. You come from prison and drug addiction, and you know, we all come from somewhere, and we get to this crossroads. All of, all of all the above. But then you're ready to change. So that's when that's where you have to get in order to change. Otherwise, you know, your family can tell you, your mother can tell you, your sister can tell you, hey, ya pasivote, tienes que cambiar. It doesn't matter until you get here. And that's the first step. Desire, wanting to change. And then after that, you're gonna need some faith. You're gonna need some faith in God, which is what we teach in here, Jesus Christ. Faith in yourself, that you can do it, you believe in yourself, and faith in the process. And then we left off with the core of our problem, which is our mindset, the way we think. And that's what we're going to continue on. The core of your problem. Something in Romans 12:1. It says like this: I beseech you, brothers, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies. In other words, it's going to take everything from you. A living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your, anybody know? Mind. That's Romans 12:1 and 2. The whole idea in the Christian life, in life in general, is that if you're going to change your life, you must change your mind. The way you think, the way you see things, the way you see God, the way you see your family, the way you see society, the way you see yourself. You have to change all those things. Some things you have to just erase from your mind. And let me read you another scripture. Then we'll go on to explain these. 2 Corinthians 10:3 and 4. Remember I was talking about the mind battles? About the mental disorders that we have? Because we do have them. We have mental disorders. We have anxiety. We have depression. We have all these things. We really do. But like I said, you have to fight against them. And how you fight is up to you. You fight the world way. In other words, the way this world, drugs, prescription drugs, counseling, psychiatrists, or through faith, pastors, mentoring. This is mentoring right here, peer to peer. This is how I rather do it. So listen to the scripture. For though we walk in the flesh, we don't war against the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare, in other words, it's a war, brother. It's a spiritual war and it's a mental war. And there's good and there's evil. There's God and there's Satan. And guess what Satan wants for you? Nothing but bad. Well, guess what God wants for you? Nothing but good. It's very simple. He says, for the weapons of our warfare, they're not physical, but they're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, these strong thoughts, these strong negative thoughts, these belief systems that have been there for years, that has destroyed your life. We have to bring them down, those doubts. That's what it's talking about. That we can pull them down. Casting down imaginations and every high thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. And being ready to punish any disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. So what the scripture is teaching us is that we have to learn to control and discipline our mind. There are some things you're going to have to get rid of, and there are some things that you're going to have to learn. Right? And that goes for the whole process. that we. So what I want, the most important thing, there's a lot to talk about the process of change. I mean, about the mindset. And I'm just going to give you a few. This is where we're going to spend most of our time here. In fact, we're going to spend the next 15 minutes on this right here. The biggest thing you need to learn about the mind is that there's a lot to learn. Even scientists today, they're learning so much about the mind. In fact, I read an article the other day, and that now they think that we use even less of our mind than they thought, because supposedly we only use like 10% of our mind, and but now studies are showing that we have so much more potential that we don't even realize. And that makes a lot of sense. That's why so many people can, like Elon Musk. Let's take, for instance, that man's a genius, right? He's using a lot more of his mind than we are, or something, right? So check this out. Something that you have to really important to understand when it comes to life change is how the mind works. So there's two parts to the mind. Who knows them? Two basic parts. Conscious and subconscious. Can you explain the difference? Want to try it, brother? Let's try to explain it. What is the conscious and what is the subconscious mind?
Is conscious when you do something that you're thinking about doing, and subconscious is something that you don't even think about doing. It just comes natural. It just
That's true. That is
brushing your
right.
teeth.
That is exactly right. Can you explain it, brother? Do you have an idea or no?
Habits.
No, Juan.
Oh,
Yeah. No, if you don't, no. If you don't, that's fine. That's the whole idea. I want to teach you.
I
Do
think
you-
habits are subconscious.
Well, yes, you have subconscious habits. So let me explain it. I gotta get plugged in. My man, it reached. Look at that. So this is really important to understand about your mind, because this. I'm telling you, please stay with me here. Your subconscious mind is your memory. It's like, in the computers there's memory in it. Your phone has memory, right? That's the subconscious. This is where you store everything you've ever gone through, everything you've ever seen, everything you've ever touched, smelled, heard. That's why sometimes, like if you were a drug addict like I was, sometimes you feel it here. Who's ever gone through that experience? Nobody? Just me. That drug, I actually tasted drug. It took years before that went away for me. I could sense that cocaine, that right there. I sensed it. I felt it. Yeah, just a flavor, just something. It was right there. But in any case, my point is the subconscious, which is the biggest part of your. This heart is your brain. Okay. 10% of it is conscious. The rest of it is subconscious, which is the biggest part of your brain. Everything, your subconscious has been programmed. And you act the way you act, you talk the way you talk, you dress the way you dress because of your subconscious. Because of what you believe, because of what have you chosen to put into your mind. Now, how did you program it? You programmed it since we were born. It started when we were born. I now have grandchildren. I had no idea that children went through phases from when they're born to 12 months old. I had no idea, brother. No idea. I just thought a baby was a baby. No. The first month, something happens. The first 3 months, something happens. The 4th and 6th month, something happens. I mean, they start getting aware. They start churning. It's just amazing to watch. Because they're feeding, their subconscious is being, everything they hear, they feel, they touch, the mom, everything. It's uploading into their subconscious. When they grab stuff, I mean, this is how we learn. And then as you get older, you learn to walk, right? All that stuff is in the subconscious. Your steps, it's all being programmed. You're literally programming us. That's why in our schools today, they want to take over and program our children to believe something Man, I better not even start there. I'm going to stop right there. By the time you're 6 years old, according to scientists that study the brain, your mindset is already kind of established, the foundation of how you're going to act, how you're going to be by the time you're older. And that's why it's so important. Then, what your mom taught you, what your friends taught you, what you saw on TV, all those things have programmed who you are and what you believe. Then you get into gang life, or you go into prison, or you go into the drug addiction life. All those things just start programming. So let me help you understand your subconscious. Okay? Because it's subconscious, you don't even realize that you're acting some way. Has anybody ever told you, do you realize that you always do this or you always do that? Because you don't even realize that you're doing. You don't even realize how you're responding. You don't even realize that you're doing something that's not good for you or whatever. Because of the subconscious. Let me give you an excellent example of what I mean by your subconscious. What high school did you go to, brother? Valley View. You weren't thinking of Valley View right now, right? No. But as soon as I said it, boom, it went into the subconscious, boom, and it came. You had it. And then there's other deeper things in there, right? Who was your first grade teacher? She's gone. Well, that's called forgetting. It's called forgetting. But my point is, when you start thinking about something or somebody asks you something, your mind automatically goes into your subconscious and it starts making decisions based on what you believe and what's in there. That's how the subconscious works. And based on what's that and the subconscious is what's controlling you today. And it's deeper than what I'm telling you, brother, but you have to understand that. You start studying the mind and you start realizing that you're actually, even though you say, that's why so many people say, I'm going to change. I'm not going to drink no more. I'm not going to smoke no more. I'm not going to do pornography no more. Well, that's really hard to do. Why? Because it's in your subconscious already. It's in your habits and your thinking habits. It's really, really deep stuff. I don't understand it all. But that's why we act the way we act, think the way we think, because of our subconscious. So what does our conscious mind do? Si el subconscious hace todo, what does our conscious mind do? Our conscious mind makes choices. Your conscious mind is what you're using right now, brother. It's what you're using right now. You're listening, you're watching, you're understanding, and that's your conscious mind. It's what you put what you put into your eyes and into your ears is going into your subconscious. And the more you listen to things, the more you see things, the deeper it gets into your conscious mind. This is why it's so hard to I'm going to put that rut picture here up in a minute. This is why it's so hard to change habits. Because right now we're going to talk about attitudes, which is what your mind produces, and habits. And the reason it's so hard to change habits is because our mind, subconscious, it's already engraved in our hearts of how we do things. In our minds, that it's so hard to change. Smoking and something that's physically addicting is even harder because not only is it physically addicting, it's mentally addicting. And it's like I'm going to show you. I'm going to try my best to give you my scientific. What's that word that the brain? No, I'll think of it in a minute. The reason I'm using the road rut, it's the same thing that happens in the mind, but they're called something else. Neural pathways. Neural pathways. What happens is that in our mind, brother, remember I told you that we were learning since we were young? What the mind does, it creates this neural pathways. And if you let's say smoking and pornography, man, it's deep. And you're thinking of it always, and it cuts a neural pathway in your brain. So then it's always going to go to the same thing. You say, I'm going to stop looking at pornography. And I'm going to use that one because that's a huge one. It's really huge. And there's a real big neural thing in your mind right now. Because us men, we struggle with that. So it's there. And the more you look at it, the deeper that neural pathway gets. So let me help you understand what a neural pathway is. It's like a rut. Let's show the rut. It's like a rut. If you take your car and you get in this rut right here, y le das despacito, and you let go of the steering wheel, that truck or that car is going to stay right in that rut. It's not going anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's already. Now, if you get your car on a road and you let go of the steering wheel and you go slow, it'll start veering. But not if you're in a rut, because ya tiene the pathway. It'll just go straight through the pathway. And that's how habits are. And that's how the mind works. The more you feed the mind the same thing, the more it stays in your mind. That's my best way to explain it. It's really deep. But that's why it's so hard to change. Because we're in a rut of whatever it is you're in, right? A food rut, trying to lose weight. You got a go-to for people losing weight. For people that smoke, it's a rut. It's addicted. It's already there. That's why it's so hard to change. Drugs, alcohol, pornography. They're literally these ruts in your mind called what again? Neural pathways. So then how do you get rid of the rut? Who's ever heard that you can change a habit in 21 days or 30 days? Or who's ever heard that? This is the whole reason for that. Because what has to happen is that you don't really get rid of the rut. You start running something else through the rut. You replace the habit and create the rut for something else. So that's what this 21-day thing is all about. You have to replace it, because you really don't get rid of it. You have to replace the habit. Do you have a question? Oh. So that's why the subconscious is so important. And this is why it's so important to change it. This is why it's so important to, well, let me tell you, how do you change it? Listen closely to this. Let me do this scripture, and then I'm going to tell you how do you change it. Ephesians 4:17 and 23, listen to what it says. Because being a Christian and changing your life is about going from being like this to being something else, right? That's what it's all about. That's what change is all about. So in the Bible, it talks about the new man and the old man. You've ever heard of that? In the Bible, it talks about the new man and the old man. And the old man has to die. That's why when I share my story, I tell people, I remember I said, I'm going to change my life, and I don't care who I have to kill. And guess who I had to kill? This is what this means. The OU. It's in the Bible. Listen closely. Ephesians 4:17. It says like this. Now I say to you and testify in the Lord that you should no longer walk like the rest of the world walks, in the futility of their mind. Listen, having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God because of their ignorance, because of the blindness in their heart, who past feelings, they have given themselves over to lewdness, to work all kinds of uncleanliness with greediness. And then he says, but you Christians, you guys, you have not so learned Christ. If you have heard of him and have been taught by him, God, the Bible, as truth is in Jesus. But listen to this. So then, put off concerning your former conduct the old man. In other words, the old way of thinking. And then he says, which grows corrupt according to deceitful lust. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind, that you may be able to put on the new man, the new way of thinking, which was created according to God in true righteousness and holiness. So that's the idea. We have to start thinking differently. Because if you start thinking differently, you start acting differently. But it actually works all around the same thing. You have to start acting differently to start thinking differently. You see what I mean? And that's how you change that rut. Because you start doing something different and it becomes a habit. To me, my habits now coming to church. I like Pastor, I love coming to church. That's my lifestyle, though. That's because I'm a minister. I'm a speaker. I'm part of the whole church. I want to do this. So then, to me, it's already, this is what I do. Sometimes I don't feel like coming, but those thoughts are easily dismissed. Easily. Why? Because my rut is in church. It's in helping others. It's in serving. It's in understanding that I'm going somewhere. It's that I have vision. I have hope for the future. Can you see that, guys? So then my habits are taking me somewhere naturally. Because success, change, overcoming in life is in the routine. You change your routine, you change your mind. You change your mind, you change your routine. You see how that works? It's discipline, but it takes discipline. That's it. That's exactly right. I didn't want to do it today, but I went. I'm trying to keep this one down, It is hard. It's not easy. So does anybody have any questions? Anybody? I'm going to show you one more thing, and then I'm going to give you the 5 principles, the 5-step process that I've used in the last 26 years to change that and to learn everything I've learned to be where I'm at today. I'm going to give you the 5-step process that I've took. Real simple. It's so easy. It's unreal. But let me show you another illustration. I want to show the illustration of the steps. You see it? Check this out. I saw this one time, and I thought it was pretty cool. We all start, like what I just shared with you. Many of us are living our lives with unconscious incompetence. In other words, we don't even realize we're dumb. That's true. You know what I mean? When we're young, I hope you don't mind me using the illustration of gangs. When we're young, we get into it and it's just, we don't even realize what we're doing. You unconsciously incompetent. Yes, when we're, all of us go through that. All of us go through this. We're unconsciously ignorant. We're young. That's how it is. But now we get older, and not only does it get old, but some people stay there, like you were saying, they're still unconscious. They're unconsciously incompetent. Okay, but then they get older, and they're conscious of their incompetence, and they stay there. See, in other words, as I'm sharing these things with you, as you come to church, as you get these revelations of, you know what, man, I'm going to change this. So now you're conscious of your incompetence. You understand? In other words, there's some things that you need to change that you didn't know you needed to change. So you're conscious of it now. You understand? Before you weren't even conscious of it. You didn't even know what you're doing. But then you go from conscious incompetence to conscious competence. That's where I'm at. I'm consciously doing competent things. In other words, I'm doing things that I know I need to do to move forward in life. I'm working on the discipline. I'm doing it. I'm doing consciously. I'm consciously doing it. In other words, well, actually, this is where you need to be. In other words, you have to consciously force yourself to do to be competent. You come to church, your new habits, yes. You consciously come to, like today after work, right? It wasn't a habit, it's that you said, no, I need to go to choose a change. So you went, right? For me, it's a habit already. I'm already in the unconscious competence. In other words, I'm already doing it automatically. I'm already going, just doing it. I'm coming to church. I don't have to think about it. In the morning I get dressed. Sunday morning church. It's not a matter of should I, shouldn't I. No, it's already
It's an established.
yes, that's it. Which is where we're going, which is why I'm talking about all this. Because that's how you change your life. E.T., the great E.T., I like E.T., Eric Thomas. He says, success is in the routine. It's not what you do once in a while. It's not what you do when you feel like it. It's what you do on a consistent basis. That's how you go to success. There's no other way. There's just no other way. And unless you get that, then nothing's ever going to change. And you're going to wonder, why am I in the same place? Well, because you never changed your habits, your attitudes. You got to go 100. Period. So let me help you with how do you go 100? Here you go. 5 steps. 5 things that I've done and keep doing every single day of my life. Number 1, I need to protect my mind. Protecting my mind. You need to stop listening, watching, doing trash in the mind. Dijo Jim Rome, there's some things that people have in their houses that I would consider trash. Books that people read. And nowadays, the big one is music. Well, it's always been big, but today, man, the music. The more you listen to music that's not good for you, and I think all of us can know that. Would you agree to that? The more it's getting in here. The more you're creating that rut. Because even though you don't realize it, it's just going over and over. So you have to protect it. Pornography. That's a huge one. It's a monster. That's destroying men by the millions. By the millions. It's just bringing us down. And I use that a lot because that's just how it is. That's just how it is. And we have to fight it. And unless you fight it, you're gonna have a hard time. So you have to protect your mind. You're with me? You have to protect your eyes. You have to protect your ears. Right? And it's hard. I'm not. By the way, I'm not telling you all this stuff because it's easy. If it were easy, but we don't need all this class. We don't need no, this place would be full. That's right. It's not easy. You go to HEB, and los girls man encuerados. I mean, that's true, right? I mean, but that's how it is. That's nothing you can do to change them. Yeah. Social media. I mean, we have everything at our fingertips. So this is really, really big. And the pornography part is going to be really huge, especially if you want to keep a good relationship uh, with your wife and your family, and that's going to be really huge. Because nowadays, hijo, the relationships are just hijo, really bad. But anyway, my point is you need to protect your mind. You with me? So, second one, you need to start feeding your mind. This is what we're doing here. This is what we do in church. This is why I listen to Christian music. This is why I listen to your audiobooks. You start reading. You start learning. You can start learning about the mind. Start learning about how to be a father. I have an audio called what's it called? That where you get books from? Audible. I have an app called Audible, and I pay $16 a month for it. But they give me one free book every month, and I listen to books. There's some great ones that called. Let me give it to you. It's called. I think you'll like it. Where's my library? There it is. Ordering Your Private World. Ordering Your Private World by Gordon MacDonald. Ordering Your Private World. It's about learning to be disciplined. Because that's really what all this is all about, right? Discipline. I have another one. Look at my books. The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Surrounded by Idiots. It's a book. Winning the War in the Mind. The Point Man. I think I sent it to you. Hook Point. Money, Possessions, and Eternity. Atomic Habits. Tactics, 10th Anniversary. King Me. It's about how raising children. Wake Up and Live. Over the Top by Zig Ziglar. The Complete Idiot's Guide to Total Transformation. It didn't say idiot, it said The Complete Guide. And then Compound Effect, which I have back there. And by the way, I'm going to give everybody, those of you who don't have it, The Compound Effect. It's a really good book. I have it down back there. So you start feeding your mind. This is how you start changing. And the reason I'm spending so much time on this is because this is huge. This is the whole deal. Once I learned that, brother, that's why you saw me always reading, because I learned this in prison. That I had to feed it, that I had to change it. And the more I fed it, the more it worked, the more I was always in, and I'm still doing it. Why? Because that's what it takes to change your life. Change your path. It just changed. The way I spoke. Remember I told at the parole office, I tell them, my vocabulary may not be that great still, but you should have heard it 26 years ago. I had the prison lingo down pat. Street lingo, I don't want it no more. I don't even want to try it. Because I'm a respectable, honorable man of God, a father, a husband, a leader, a grandpa. And that's what I want to embrace. And it's not because I feel that like that. I'm a grandpa. No, I want to be that. Because that you have to force yourself, right, to be who you want to be. That's how this stuff works. All this stuff I'm telling you, I didn't know. I didn't know it was a choice. But once I understood it, I started protecting my mind. I started feeding my mind. The third one, I started getting involved in church, in Choose a Change, in Bible study, in ministry. You get involved. You need to get involved, which you are doing. You're coming to church. You're getting Choose a Change. This is how you get involved. And the reason that one's so important is because the fourth key, because your associations are huge. Who you hang around with. And if you get involved with something different, church, Choose a Change, ministry, then you're going to develop new relationships. And new relationships is a big key. a major key, and I'm going to tell you how big it is right now, in changing your life. Major. I'm talking about, it might be even the most important thing you'll do. Changing your friends. There's a study by Harvard University by a guy named McCullough, Dr. McCullough. And in his study, it says that 95%, listen closely, 95% of your success or failure in life will be directly related to your friends. Listen, that's it. My mom told me, ever since I remember, me dijo, dime con quién te juntas y qué. Y de quién eres. And it's so real. It's so true. Zig Ziglar says, or Jim Rome says, friends are like an elevator. They can take you up, or what? Or they can take you down. That's it. Associations are that huge. I'd go into the strategy of how to deal with your friends. You know, some of them you just got to cut off completely. Would you agree to that? There's some people you're just going to have to cut off. That's all there is to it. Other people, you just can spend just, a couple hours, like family members. Not everybody, but family members. Some family members, like this Christmas, you're going to have to just, stay, you're going to have to stay away. I mean, I know a lot of friends of mine that they, their family are toxic. They're toxic. And there's some people you can just spend like 5 minutes with. Like some coworkers at work, maybe one day you're going to get a job and you're going to realize some people just high and by because they're coworkers, but you stay away from them. That's how you have to do it. You have to develop new friends. You choose those. That's amazing. Think about that for a minute. You choose your own friends. So associations are huge. And number 5, prayer. You're going to need God, man. I'm telling you, you're going to need God. So you got those 5? Protect your mind, feed your mind, get involved, associations, and prayer. Those 5 things are my constant habits. Which is why your mindset is so important. Because it produces attitudes and habits. Attitudes are huge. You ever met anybody with a bad attitude? It's huge. You have to have this. We're talking about life change, right? Okay. In order to literally be able to change your life in a way that's nobody ever thought possible, you're going to have the what I call the Caleb spirit, the Caleb attitude. Caleb is a character in the Bible. And he had this can-do attitude, is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Where you just, you have to wire yourself up. You have to, I'm going to go do this. That's the kind of attitude you need to have. Because nobody's going to motivate you. I might inspire you, but I can't really motivate you. You have to motivate yourself. David, in the Bible, when he was going to be killed by his own people, he said he motivated himself in his God. But Caleb there's a story in the Bible where Caleb and Joshua were sent. This is the children of Israel. They were delivered from slavery. You ever heard of that? The Bible, according to the Bible, the people of God, way back years, many years ago, hundreds, thousands of years ago, they were enslaved. The people of God, the Jews, yes, they were enslaved. And then God delivered them through Moses. This is the story of Moses. And he promised them the promised land. You've heard of that, right? That there's a promised land. I'm trying to help you get to the promised land. Well, while they were in the wilderness waiting to get to the promised land, God told Moses to go send 10 spies or 10 people, 10 leaders, 12 leaders, 12 leaders to go spy out the land to see what it looked like. So 12 leaders went, and for 40 days they went, they spied it out, and they came back. And they came back with the fruit and the honey because God said, I'm going to give you a land flowing with fruit and honey. In other words, a very prosperous land. And when they came back, 10 of the spies came back with a negative report. And they said, no, we can't do it. It's too hard. They're too big. It's too far. The walls are too big. That's how they came. And that's how many of us can be. It's too hard. It's too long. I'll never make it. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not educated enough. And you can make all these excuses, right? That why you can't do it. And that's what they did. We can't do it. But Joshua and Caleb, here's what they said. It's really a story. Numbers 14. You can read it on your own. Numbers 14. Here's what they said. They said, shut up. That's what they told the 10 other. They said, shut up. We can and we will overcome and take this land. We can and we will. And that's the kind of attitude you need. The Caleb attitude, the Joshua attitude. Listen to what God said about him. In Numbers 14:24. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him, and has followed me fully. In other words, he trusted God. He believed in God. I will bring him into the land where he went, and his descendants shall inherit it. His children. Brother, you're doing it for your sons. That's why we do it. Because if you do it for yourself, that'll take you a little ways. But when you understand that you're doing it for someone else, for someone behind you, for the future, for your children, you have to have the spirit of Caleb, an attitude of Caleb. And that's what it's going to take. And that's why the mindset is so important, because it produces attitudes and habits. We already talked about habits and attitudes. Let me give you the last two. Lifestyle and results. You understand the habit one, right? Listen to this. So, and there's more I can say so much about habits and attitudes, but you all got that, right? So all these are really important because it'll create your lifestyle. How you live. How people view you. How people know you. Let me give you an example of lifestyle. Have you ever heard about how, like, you know people by how they are? Like, every Saturday they prenden el bote todos los sábados o algo, right? Or they party they're somewhere in a club every Saturday, or you know them by their lifestyle. They drive a certain car, they act a certain way, they dress a certain way. You know them by their lifestyle. You with me? And you have to decide what kind of lifestyle you want. But your lifestyle is going to be decided depending on all this, right? Some people want to change, but they don't want to change their lifestyle. Because it's hard, because it's habitual. You're used to it, right? Friends, drinking on the weekends, smoking pot, that's a big one. It's a huge one. It's legal. Those are what are legal. But your lifestyle is who you are, right? And think about what kind of lifestyle you would like. What's the kind of lifestyle is good, best for you? And why is the lifestyle so important? Because it's going to take you here. Results. Is that correct? Results is the name of the game. Period. Results is the name of the game. And your results are either going to be success or what? And guess what? They're both a choice. So check this out. Here's how I explain this to people. If you don't like the results in your life, where you're at today, all we have to do is ask yourself, how did I get here? Well, all we have to do is go back. What kind of lifestyle did you have? What kind of habits did you have? What kind of attitude did you have? What kind of mindset did you have? Right? Well, that's all you got to do. And you'll understand why you are where you are today. Because somehow you were never able to get out of here. You had faith, you had desire. Because everybody wants something better in life. Everybody has some kind of faith. But you never got stuck here. You couldn't get that to push through. And part of it was holding you back was the way you thought, which produced everything else. Does it make sense to anybody? This is the process of change. Now, this is not the only things you need to learn in life when it comes to life change. But these are the 7 that if you just start working on this, everything else will start coming together. Because results is the name of the game. So I'm going to take 5 more minutes to end this. Anybody have any questions? There's a story in the Bible. This is about results, and I think this is the last story I'll tell you. God cares about results. And it's the parable of the talents. Anybody ever heard the parable of the talents? So the story goes like this. There was Jesus was speaking to the people, and he gave this example of what the kingdom of God was like, of what God was like, of what was God's world like. And he gave this example of a traveling man who went to a far country. He was a business owner, and he gave talents to 3 people. To one of them, he gave 1 talent. To another one, he gave 2 talents. And to another one, he gave 5 talents. And he said, do something with these talents, and when I come back, show me what you've done. So he went on a long journey. When he came back, he came and asked his servants about the talents. And he said, to the one that he gave 1 talent, he told him, Leo, we'll call him Leo. I gave you, no. He went to the one with 5 talents first. You got 5 talents. And the king asked you, what have you done with my talents, Leo? And Leo said, look, I now have 10 talents. I doubled your talents. And the king said, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the kingdom. Then he went to the one that he gave 2 talents. And he said, Adrian, what did you do with your 2 talents? And Adrian said, King, I have 4 talents now. I doubled mine too. And the king said, well done, you faithful and good and faithful servant. Step into the kingdom of heaven. And then he went to, we'll call him something else. Wait a minute. No, we'll call him John. John. Well, that is Juan, right? We'll call him Joe. Yeah, ¿verdad que sí? We'll call him Joe. He went to Joe, who had only 1 talent. And Joe said, King, I have your 1 talent. I saved it. I protected it. Nobody took it. And the king said, you wicked and lazy servant. He says, cast that guy into eternal hell. Or something like that. And he said, but first take away that 1 talent and give it to the one that had 10. ¿Yate? And he said, take that guy away. You know why that parable is important? Because results is the name of the game. That's it. It doesn't matter how much you cry, how much you hope, how much you... Results is all that matters. That's all that matters at your job. That's all that matters at school. That's all that matters in marriage. That's all that matters in church. That's all that matters is results. And you're either doing it or you're not. You're either changing or you're not. You're either in or you're out. That's just how it is. The Bible talks about two roads, the narrow and the broad. The broad way is easy and light, and everybody goes through there because there's no problems. It's easy. But the narrow way is straight and narrow. That one leads to life. This one leads to destruction. And that's how it works. That's how life works. And it doesn't matter how you slice it. That's how it works. And that is the process of change. It's 25 years of learning this stuff. I've been developing it and learning it. And now I'm just learning how to explain it better. And hopefully I'm getting better, man. Am I getting better, sister? Just tell me yes. Guys, that's all we have. But do anybody have any questions today? Any questions? We always pass around a donation bucket, guys. If you don't have a donation, don't worry about it. But I'm going to pass it around. I brought my donation today. What I do want to do is give everybody that's here today, I'm going to give you a book so you can start you on your process, if you like. And next week is, let me see. One of the things I'm going to be asking this coming year, guys, those of you that, well, Leo, did you learn something today? Awesome. Brother, did you learn something? Did you guys learn something? And that's the idea. Every time you come in here into this class, I'm always going to be touching on something on this process. Whether we're preaching, if I'm not here, I'm going to have somebody preaching here. We're going to be always, because every time we come to church, that's what the sermons are for, to get us going, to teach us something, to take us to the next level. And let me give you the secret. You're not going to learn everything in one setting, in one class, in one book. It's a process. That's why this is called the process of change, because it's a process. It takes time. That's how it works. It's like working out. I think you mentioned something about working out. It's the same thing. It has to be consistent. You have to do it. That's how it works. And you're going to grow. You're going to develop. And before you know it, we're in a place that, wow, I made it. Didn't even try too hard. Because it's not that hard. It's not that hard to change your life. It's really not that hard. It's just, no, it's hard. I'm not saying that it's not hard. It's the hardest thing I said you're ever going to do. But then when you look back, you realize it wasn't that hard. Or maybe we should say it was worth it. It was worth it. So, I have great plans for next year. After we come back on Thursday, let me see what, next Thursday, the 29th, we'll be at our last meeting of the year. We'll be here at 7 p.m. And I'm excited about next year. We got a lot of great things happening. I'm planning on hopefully opening up a men's home. That's going to be pretty awesome. Hopefully I can get it done next year. Where men that need some help and need someone to stay to start this process of change, get them going. And so I want you to pray about that, think about that. And next year, I'm also going to be looking for, pray about this and think about this, guys. But what we're trying to get is a funding to run our organization. And I'm going to be looking for monthly donors. I'm going to call them something, game changers or change makers, $10, $20, or $30 monthly donors. So, especially those of you watching, if you're watching me and this program has helped you, I know some of you watched this class every week. I'm looking for $10, $20, or $30 monthly donors, because the goal for next year is to get 200 monthly donors to help us. Small donors, $10, $20, $30. So everybody's going to be a monthly donor in here, I guess. But that's what I'm going to be looking for next year. I'm going to make a little flyer where become a change maker, monthly donor, 10, 20, or 30. In fact, if you go to there right now and you click on it, it's going to take you directly to that thing, and it says 10, 20, or 30. Yeah, I'm setting it up. Getting techie now. But guys, that's all I have for today. We'll share more about where we're going next year next week. So thank you for coming, and God bless you. Amen.